Hello and welcome. We're so excited that you are joining us for our UC Berkeley Engineering specific visit today. We have so many exciting things to share with you, and we're so grateful that you are taking an hour out of your day to share it with us. A little introduction to myself. My name is Alyssa. I use the she, her pronouns, and I'm from Salinas, California, which is about 2.5 hours away from Berkeley. I am a rising junior, so just finished my second year here at Cal, quite bittersweet, hitting that halfway point. And I'm majoring in society and the environment. So, of course, this is not engineering. However, my father is a civil engineer, so engineering definitely has a special place in my heart. As far as my involvement on campus, I'm part of the UC Rally Committee. I'm also involved with Greek life and leadership in the residence halls, and I will be today's moderator. A little bit of housekeeping for today's tour. It'll be a 45-minute presentation, which throughout it, you will be able to type any and all of your questions through that Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. We'll also be sending out a series of polls throughout so that we can get to know you as you are getting to know our College of Engineering. And this session is also being recorded. However, there are different versions available on our website that you can check out and hear from different students about their perspectives. This is an engineering specific overview, so it is different material than our regular virtual visit that you can also sign up for at the same place you signed up for this tour. And as I said, it is given from the student perspective. So that being said, there's no admissions or financial aid information. Finally, we will end the tour with a Q&A, and we'll do our best to answer all of your questions that you sent in the Q&A, but don't be afraid to ask all your thoughts throughout, because not only do we have Christina and Greg who will be answering live, but we also have amazing people on the back end ready to type answers for you as well. Without further ado, I'll hand it over to Christina and Greg.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. My name's Greg. I use the he, him, his pronouns, and I'm from Tiburon, California, which is a little town right across the bay from Berkeley, about 40 minutes away. I'm a rising junior, just like Alyssa, and my major is mechanical engineering with a concentration in aerospace engineering. Also, like Alyssa, I'm involved in the UC Rally Committee on campus, the Undergraduate Astronomy Society, which is a really fun group of people that just get together and like to talk about how much they love space. And I'm a Cal alumni scholar. And here is Christina.
Thank you, Greg. Again, hello, everyone. My name's Christina. I'll be your other guide for today. I use the she, her, hers pronoun series. I'm originally from Whittier, California. I'm a rising senior, which is crazy to say. I'm also in the College of Engineering. I major in industrial engineering and operations research. Like Alyssa and like Greg, a very spirited group on today's tour. I'm also part of the UC Rally Committee. Aside from that, I'm part of Hispanics in Engineering and Science and Society of Women Engineers, which are two clubs within our College of Engineering. So if you have any questions about College of Engineering, Cal Spirit, or just like anything within that realm, feel free to type them in the Q&A, and me and Greg are more than happy to answer those.
So I'd just like to welcome you all virtually to UC Berkeley. You should see a poll popping up on your screen asking who you are, if you're a high school student, not a high school student, some other student, not a student at all. We just want to know so we can tailor our tour to you. And while you're answering that, you can see a couple of the lovely vistas around campus, including that beautiful shot of the Campanile, which is one of our most recognizable landmarks in the center there, and that neat drone video of the central campus area, the Hearst Mining Circle, and a bunch of the College of Engineering buildings. You can see Memorial Glade on the right there, which is a great place to gather and hang out and study. And you'll see just covered in students on beautiful sunny days in Berkeley. And in the bottom left, you'll see our 150W logo, which is celebrating 150 years of women being admitted to the University of California, which is a wonderful anniversary that we celebrated just a couple of years ago. So we're still very proud of that. And that celebration is still ongoing.
Okay, so I can see from the poll that most of the people joining us today are high school seniors and a couple high school juniors. So hello to all of you. Hope that your college search is going well, and we'll talk a little bit about College of Engineering. Hopefully it interests you, but if not, you can also look up our general virtual visits to just get like an overall, like what is Berkeley and what else can I study here. But for today's tour, we're going to be going over a few topics. You'll see the agenda on the screen right now. We'll be doing a very brief overview of Berkeley. Again, general campus visit covers a lot more of that. Then we'll be going straight into academic overview, specifically for the College of Engineering and all its 11 majors. Then we'll be talking a little bit about student life, resources, and kind of extracurricular activities that you could get involved in. And then lastly, we'll be going over some of the resources that specifically cater to College of Engineering students, including labs, makerspaces, research opportunities, and overall legacy and past alumni. So yeah, that's a little agenda for today. But again, any questions or anything that's not covered under these topics, feel free to use the Q&A function to get those questions answered.
Absolutely. We can't stress enough how important it is to ask, good questions and for us to answer them. So please make use of that Q&A function. So a little bit about UC Berkeley. We were founded in 1868 as the first of the 9 undergraduate UC campuses. And because of that, you might hear us be called by a couple different names like Berkeley, Cal, or the University of California. And that's just because we were the first campus. So we stick to that University of California name. And Cal is for the athletic teams. But generally speaking, if you hear somebody talking about Berkeley, that's us. Our mascots are the Golden Bears, and I'm sure that you'll meet Oski, who's our living mascot when you come onto campus. He's a very fun bear, great to play Rochambeau with. Love that guy. Our campus is fairly large. We have about 31,000 undergraduate students, of which about 3,700 are engineers. And we have about 11,500 graduate students, of which about 2,400 are engineers. So a decent chunk of engineers on campus and a decently large campus overall.
Yeah, I think that's one really cool thing, even about like going to a large university, you get kind of the resources that come with a large university, but also it's split up into smaller colleges. So like being in the College of Engineering, I know a lot of the faculty, I know a lot of the advisors, and it just seems like I can make a connection with them, even though there's like 3,000 of us. So yeah, we do have 5 undergraduate colleges. So overall, our university is pretty large, but we split it up into different undergraduate colleges. College of Engineering has 11 majors total, which we'll go into depth about. Our College of Chemistry we'll talk about a little bit, and specifically the chemical engineering program. It's the only engineering major that isn't housed within the College of Engineering. So yeah, we have chemical engineering, regular chemistry, and chemical biology. We also have our largest college on campus, which is the College of Letters and Science. It has a lot of STEM majors, including computer science, data science. I think there's even like operations research without the industrial engineering. There's a bunch of STEM, physics, math courses within that. But there's also a lot of humanities majors as well. You're interested in any of that. Browser College of Natural Resources for any environmentally focused majors. And then lastly, our College of Environmental Design for any majors focused around city planning, architecture, anything like that. And then last note is that for these 5 undergraduate colleges, it is recommended to apply directly versus coming in with the intention to transfer. Transferring is never guaranteed from one college to the other. So we always recommend everyone applying directly into the college and the major in which they choose to study. It just makes everything a lot easier. Of course, if you come here and find out that you really like another major that isn't yours, there is a transfer process that you can go through, but it is fairly difficult. So we just recommend applying directly if possible.
I would definitely second what Christina just said about transferring versus applying directly. I personally transferred into the College of Engineering, so I'd be happy to answer questions about that later if anyone has those. But for now, we have another poll popping up about, ooh, that was not another poll popping up. That just came up on my screen. My bad. We're going to start our overview of the College of Engineering. The College of Engineering here at UC Berkeley has kind of 2 mottos. One is transform the lives of our students by preparing them to become successful leaders and innovators for positive change. And the other one is a little more research focused and our impact on the larger world, which is expand knowledge and create transformative technology through original research to tackle the world's biggest challenges. And I think these kind of 2 different mottos really show what the College of Engineering is all about. It's really focused on students. There are a ton of advising and help options for students to make sure that they're learning well and getting the kind of information that they want to get and the education that they want to get. So it's really student focused that way, but it's also very outward focused. We are have a large impact on the world around us. Berkeley Engineering has made some incredible technology advances, and our alumni have started some incredible companies like Apple and Intel. So it really focuses on those kind of two viewpoints. A little bit about our culture. We are a bunch of change makers. We love to challenge the status quo. We're big on entrepreneurship. I mentioned those two companies there, but there have been dozens and dozens of companies started by Berkeley Engineering alumni. So we focus heavily on creating the next kind of big technological advances, and of course research and innovation factors into that. And our community is all about compassion, passion, and social justice. This is true in the College of Engineering and true around the entirety of Berkeley's campus. You'll see people advocating for things they're passionate about, people protesting things that they think need to be changed. That is a common part of life at UC Berkeley, and it permeates all parts of campus. We're big about spirit and pride. Christina, Alyssa, and I are all part of the UC Rally Committee, which is a big spirit group on campus. Loves to get students hyped up for games. We hold rallies, hence the name. And just generally, we all love the university and try and help all the student body feel that love for the university as well. And we are very proud of our diverse student body and excellence in many, many different areas.
Yeah, so to go more in depth, specifically about academics, kind of going over that school motto, that kind of permeates throughout the 11 majors that we have here. So you'll see a poll on your screen, kind of asking you what major you're interested in. It's multiple choice, so I know some people may be interested in different ones. Feel free to click as many as you want. So yeah, all of our 11 majors are ranked in the top 9 globally. So regardless of what major you're choosing within the College of Engineering, you're getting a top tier education. Also, side note, just like it may be hard to switch from one college to another, it can also be difficult to switch from one major within the College of Engineering to another major. Some of our more popular majors, such as EECS, I see from the poll that 65% of you are interested in EECS. That means there's a lot of students interested in that, and only so many students can get into the program. So if you're interested in that program, highly recommend applying directly. Bioengineering, mechanical engineering, some of our more popular majors, is a lot better to apply directly versus transferring in. But of course, it's always a possibility to transfer between different majors within the college. After graduating from these 11 majors, Greg talked a little bit about how our alumni go on and create great companies, or just like work for great companies within Bay Area, Silicon Valley, and around the world. That's what most of our alumni do. They go straight into industry. Some of our alumni also go into grad school. So we do have a 4+1 master's program here at UC Berkeley for students who are interested in that. I believe you apply the fall of your senior year at Cal. We also have PhD programs, doctorates of engineering, a bunch of different programs if you want to go into even higher education. We also have opportunities for research. So if students want to get involved in research, I've known some engineering alumnus who have actually stayed right in Berkeley, worked at the Berkeley National Lab. Some people have worked in research at different biotech companies around the Bay Area. So there's a bunch of different kind of outlets to go. After graduating UC Berkeley. That's one great thing about going to a college so prestigious as College of Engineering at UC Berkeley. There's always some sort of opportunity after graduating from here and securing some sort of job or research or just other education elsewhere.
What Christina said about people sticking around in the Bay Area and at Berkeley specifically is very true. I had a professor my freshman year who got his bachelor's, master's, doctorate at UC Berkeley and then taught at Berkeley for 30 years and is still going. So people do stick around here because they love it so much. So we're going to dive right into an overview of each of our different engineering majors. First one being Undeclared Engineering, which is, as it sounds, not any particular kind of engineering. It's a way to apply into the College of Engineering and kind of taste the buffet of different things that you want to try out by taking different classes. And then by your 4th semester here at Berkeley, you would declare one of the other majors that we're going to talk about next. You also take an introductory seminar in that major that helps you figure out kind of what you want to do. Next, we have nuclear engineering, which is heavily focused on research and development, specifically with electrical power generation, medical applications for radioactive isotopes, which are important for medical scans of different kinds. So that's a more research-focused major and very well regarded throughout the College of Engineering and worldwide. We also have bioengineering, which is more research and development focused and definitely has a medical slant to it. Focusing on biomedicals, information technology, genetics, everything like that. So you can, these are some of our more research-focused majors, and there are some more hands-on applied majors that we'll talk about in the next few slides.
Yeah, I can say I came in through the engineering undeclared track and really loved it. That seminar course taught me what industrial engineering was. I didn't really know anything about it before coming to Cal. So yeah, recommend it for anyone who's just completely undecided and don't know what they want to do within the College of Engineering. It's selective to get into, but it comes with a lot of great opportunities. Next major is my own, Industrial Engineering and Operations Research. This major focuses around complex systems operation, making processes more effective, efficient, and safe. Overall, it's a very math, hands-on focused major. So you'll be going into companies, kind of seeing what their assembly line looks like, seeing what, how to make their company either waste less time, make more money, just making, like the description says, everything more effective, efficient, and safe. A lot of theme parks, a lot of just general cities, hire industrial engineers, could be traffic lights, it could be wait lines at theme parks. They just kind of do everything under the sun. So it's a really cool major, especially if you're interested in the math side of engineering. We also have material science and engineering. This major focuses specifically on kind of taking products that might already be made, maybe a mechanical engineering major worked on it, and looking up what materials would be best to execute this product. So they look at desirable material properties. Does this product have to bend? Does this product have to stay super rigid? Is this product going to be in different temperatures? They take all that into consideration when trying to kind of build a product and focus on the material side of it. They also focus on function, environmental impact, feasibility, and cost. One thing around Berkeley and the College of Engineering within Berkeley is that every major, although it's not an environmental major, we are very conscious of the environment and the implications that engineering can have on it. So material science and engineering is a great major in case you're interested in the environment, to take products that may not be super environmentally friendly and find other alternatives for it. So yeah, these are just two of our different majors that we have here at Berkeley. But yeah, I'd say these are a bit more applied than the last slide, but we'll get even to more applied majors as we go throughout the slides.
All right, now into civil and environmental engineering, which is a somewhat research-focused major, but there are some hands-on projects and more hands-on testing involved with this major. It is civil engineering with an environmental slant, so looking at how to create buildings and structures that are, work well with the environment that they're in and don't contribute to climate change problems or other issues like that. So you will work with lots of data on natural environments and structures. There will be a sustainability focus, and you'll work with infrastructure and control systems, like whole building control systems, stuff like that. One thing about civil and environmental engineering is in Davis Hall, which is kind of their headquarters on campus, there's a large construction bay, which is used for building large scale models of buildings and other projects and testing materials, and it has cranes and stuff. And it's during in-person tours, it's one thing that we love to show off because it's a very grand, impressive space that students in civil and environmental engineering get to use. And then moving on to mechanical engineering, which is my home major. It's somewhat multidisciplinary. You heard me say that I was concentrating in aerospace engineering, which is relatively new, having these different concentrations. And I'm not sure how many they are, but I know that aerospace engineering only came about this past year. And that just basically means that in my upper division technical elective courses, I'll be taking a certain set of them that focus more heavily on aerospace and aircraft control and spacecraft and stuff like that. So I will still be taking mostly the same mechanical engineering courses as everyone else, but I just will take a specific set of upper division technical electives in like my senior year. So mechanical engineers focus on all sorts of different projects, from robotics to micro and nanosystems to automation to computer design, internal combustion engines, everything. If you want to know that you want to get your hands dirty and be building things and testing things, but don't know kind of what problems you want to solve yet, mechanical engineering is a great place to be able to do all sorts of different things. And it has some really neat programs and workshop opportunities that you get to go and actually build projects and see how they function, which I've very much enjoyed.
Yeah, I will say, I think of all the majors, I think mechanical engineering tends to be the most hands-on. So yeah, definitely if you want to get a hands-on experience, it's a great major to look into. Next, we have our engineering science majors. This department is pretty small, and they even have 4 subdivisions to divide it up. So these majors can be as small as 100 students per major. So we have energy engineering, engineering, math and stats, engineering physics, and environmental engineering science. Some of these may seem very niche and repetitive, but there's a lot of students who really want to focus in on one specific kind of niche of engineering, and it's really good, especially if you want to go into research or into a very specific field of study. So for example, if you aren't interested in civil engineering, but you really want to look into the environmental impact that engineering has and the products that are made daily by different companies, it's a great major to go into. Engineering physics, if you really love physics, most engineers, I think, take 2, maybe 3 physics classes total. I know for my major, I only had to take 2. So you're not going to get a lot of physics within the College of Engineering. So if you really want to focus in and take a lot of those upper division physics courses, a great major. Engineering, mathematics, and statistics. I would say IEOR is very math focused, so that would be the closest thing to it. But if you really want to concentrate on those upper division math and stats, great major again. Energy engineering is, I'd say, the closest to nuclear engineering, but specifically it looks at more than just nuclear engineering, all different forms of energy that can be used. So yeah, you can focus on green technology, energy systems, sciences, math, physics. There's a lot of different concentrations you can choose. And I will say that engineering science is kind of the department / major with the most flexibility within it. The majors are super small, and the requirements have a lot of like leeway. You can take certain kind of like Greg was saying for mechanical engineering, how he's concentrating on aerospace, you can kind of pick your own concentration for these as well. So if you want that flexibility, if you want to go specifically into research, I think it's a great major to look into.
Totally agree with all of that. And now we're going to move into a major that gets a slide all for itself, because we saw that you guys had, 60 some odd % were interested in EECS. So we'll talk about EECS. EECS, of course, stands for Electrical Engineering and Computer Science. It's all focused on technological problem solving, everything from the circuit side of computers, circuit design, optimizing new kinds of computer chips, all that kind of thing, to the software side, programming, user experience, trying to make sure that things run as smoothly as possible. There's a collaboration with industry. Companies sponsor different parts of labs and things. You'll see in that bottom right corner the Texas Instruments Electronics Design Lab in Corey Hall. So you'll get some collaboration with various large tech firms and get to use some really neat products by software and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of CAD design. If you're going to be designing physical components for computers and stuff like that, you'll be able to use SolidWorks and Inventor and Fusion. God, I feel so old. I said Inventor, it's all now Fusion. So that's my bad. But I've gotten some of that CAD experience in mechanical engineering. It's also in EECS here. And then you'll get some introductions to microwave, quantum, optical electronics, and circuits, like I mentioned before. So that up there is Soda Hall, the outside. And then below it, I said there's the TI Electronics Design Lab, which is the inside of Soda Hall. So EECS is mostly concentrated in that building.
And since a lot of you were interested in EECS, I think it's always a good thing to talk a little bit more about EECS and also kind of the distinction between this major and computer science, which is found in our College of Letters and Science. So EECS is obviously in the College of Engineering. It is direct admission, as is with every other engineering major. You apply into the major, and if you get in, you come in declared. You don't have to meet certain prerequisite requirements, no GPA requirement. You got the major, you're in, you did it. For computer science within the College of Letters and Science is a little different. All students within the College of Letters and Science come in undeclared with an intended major. So you would come in undeclared with an intended major of computer science. You would then have to take certain, slipping my mind, but core classes, and you would need to get, I believe it's a 3.3 GPA in these core classes to be able to declare your major. And 3.3 might seem pretty easy in high school, but it is pretty hard, especially when taking these CS classes with other students. So just be mindful of that you will have to kind of work really hard in those first like 2, 3, 4 semesters to make sure you're meeting that GPA requirement. Beyond that, EECS is hardware and software integration kind of together. You can obviously pick a concentration and focus your upper divisions on one versus the other, but you will have to take classes in both. Computer science, you can solely focus on software and really kind of not have to do many, if any, hardware classes. So if that interests you, kind of one versus the other. EECS has 4 breadth courses they have to take through the College of Engineering, versus computer science, you have 7 breadth courses. So I think computer science has less technical requirements, so it evens out to the same number of classes, but you're just going to get, I guess, a more humanities focused overall experience within the College of Letters and Science. There's more flexibility within the College of Letters and Science as well if you want to pick up a double major, want to pick up a minor. And yeah, there's specific ethics and specific math and physics requirements for EECS that aren't the same with CS, but overall, it really depends what kind of focus you want to do, hardware versus software, and also whether you want to come in direct admission or undeclared and just meet that GPA requirement. I've seen students do both, so it's really all up to you. We also have data science that a lot of students who may be interested in EECS apply to, so there's a bunch of different opportunities to take kind of different pathways to hopefully do similar things once you graduate from UC Berkeley.
All right, we're going to have our third and final poll popping up on the screen here, asking where you're joining us from, while I talk about some other opportunities within the College of Engineering, like joint majors, which are just like double majors, except they've already been established as programs. So you can essentially combine 2 different majors within the College of Engineering, and there's a program already set up for how to do that, so you don't have to go figure out what classes you need to take in what order, like you would if you were trying to do a double major on your own. So those are very helpful programs. We also have minors in a bunch of different fields. I mentioned that there's a concentration in aerospace engineering. There's also a minor in aerospace engineering that you can take even if you're not within the College of Engineering. Before transferring into the College of Engineering, I was an astrophysics major in the College of Letters and Science, and was intending, if I wasn't able to transfer, to take that aerospace engineering minor because I could do it not as a College of Engineering major. We also have certificates, 2 examples of which are the Design Innovation Certificate, which is fairly new and run through the Jacobs Hall makerspace, which is more properly called the Jacobs Institute of Design Innovation, a picture of which you can see there. And the Entrepreneurship and Technology Certificate, which is more business focused. We also have the Management, Entrepreneurship, and Technology program, which is offered jointly with the Haas School of Business, which is a very popular program that combines engineering and business classes to give you a joint degree when you graduate, both in engineering and business, that really prepares you for entrepreneurship, creating new companies, startups, really kind of pushing the limits of engineering and new technology. And seeing the poll results, it looks like most of you are joining us either from Northern California or from the East Coast. So welcome everyone there. And you guys will probably be eating dinner soon. So we'll make sure to not go over time.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, So next, we're going to quickly go over College of Chemistry. College of Chemistry has around 1,000 students. It's fairly smaller than the College of Engineering, but like the College of Engineering, you apply directly into it. It's not recommended to transfer in. I've known a few friends that have done it, but it's a really tough process. College of Chemistry is ranked #1 globally. So really you're getting best out of best education. That's faculty, that's research, that's everything that's offered through the College of Chemistry. We have 3 majors: chemistry, chemical biology, and chemical engineering. Again, if you're interested in chemical engineering, be sure to apply to the College of Chemistry versus the College of Engineering. But yeah, honestly, I think the thing that stands out most about the College of Chemistry is just the faculty that we've had here. We've had 16 elements discovered through the research that's happened on campus through our faculty: berkelium, californium, and seaborgium, just to name a few. I believe someone told me that about 10% of the periodic table were elements founded on like UC Berkeley's campus / by UC Berkeley faculty. So that's pretty crazy to think about. There's been a bunch of the Lewis dot structure was invented by a Cal professor. There's a bunch of different stuff that has come out of the College of Chemistry. Definitely recommend researching into it and looking into it, because it's a great college to study at. And yeah, you have 3 different majors to choose from, and specifically chemical engineering might be of interest to a lot of you.
I always love hearing about the tons of elements that we've discovered in the College of Chemistry. One fun side note is if you follow UC Berkeley on any of our social media pages, you'd see that our profile picture is a yellow circle with just the letters BK. And that's the elemental symbol for berkelium, because we got it named after us, which is really neat. So a little bit about engineering classes in particular. Like most classes that you'll find at Berkeley, they come in several parts. So you have a larger lecture section, which has all the students in the class in it, and you're being taught by the professor in a lecture hall, getting kind of the course overview, large concepts, maybe some problems worked out, but that happens more often in your discussion section, which is where you have a smaller group of students, usually like 20 to 30, paired with a graduate student instructor. You might hear them called TAs at other universities. We call them GSIs. And that's where you'll get some more detailed instruction and a lot more problem solving, practice problems, assistance with homework. They're also who will grade quizzes and tests and things for you. So getting to know your GSI and learning from them is a great part of all of that. Your GSI will also teach your lab section if your class has a lab. That can be in a shop if you're actually building things. That can be doing experiments and research. In my physics classes, my freshman year, we did labs where we rolled carts down tracks and calculated spring constants and things like that. So labs can be all sorts of different stuff. It's basically just anything that isn't doing problems and preparing for tests and things. And then both your professor and your GSI will have office hours, which are times when they're free. You can go to their office and just ask them questions, get help with specific issues you have, and just try and get to know your professors better. Every class I've ever been in, the professors have always said at the beginning of class, please come to my office hours. I am bored. Nobody ever shows up. Please come talk to me. So getting to talk with our world-class faculty is something that you should absolutely take advantage of, because they are really cool people and do some really, really cool things. Class size is a question that we often get, and our answer is that it really depends on your major and where you are in your academic career at Berkeley. Your lower division introductory courses are almost always going to be larger than your upper division, technical specific courses, because there's a lot more people that, take those and then branch out into different areas. So, I've had physics and math classes with several hundred people in them. I think CS 61A and some of the introductory EECS classes have upwards of 1,000 people in them. So they can be very large, but then you get into some higher division classes that I was taking this past semester that had like 40 people in them. So that almost seems like a discussion section. It was really small. There's also in-class interaction oftentimes with engineering and other STEM classes. There are these things called eye clickers, which are they look like very simple TV remotes with different buttons on them, labeled like A through E or A through F. and you can answer questions that are posed in class by the professor with them. Sometimes that's how they'll take attendance, is asking some kind of simple question, and you can answer that as your attendance for the day to make sure that people are coming to class and getting that full experience. There's also lots of resources available outside of office hours and discussion sections, like the Student Learning Center, which offers tutoring services for some of the most popular classes all across campus, not just for the College of Engineering. There's also Engineering Student Services, which offers tutoring services for the most popular engineering classes. I've used that a lot. They were fantastic, really helped me through some tricky parts of classes. So I highly recommend checking them out in Bethel Hall. And there's your academic advisors, which stay with you through your entire time at Berkeley, that help you plan out which classes to take and how to get things done in time so that you have a really smooth, great experience here.
Yeah, I will say academic advisors generally at UC Berkeley are always the best. They really just value the student experience and are there to help students. But I'd say specifically for College of Engineering, it's really cool how they divide the academic advisors by major. So you stick with them for your 4 years. And you do, or at least for my academic advisors, do a check-in every semester. So at least once a semester, I'm talking to my advisor for 15, 30 minutes, just checking up, even if it isn't class stuff. They check in, make sure you're doing good mental health wise, making sure you're doing extracurriculars, and just want an update of your life. So it's really cool to just talk for them, and many of them can be a mentor kind of figure to a lot of students. So next I want to quickly talk about student diversity. It's something that I think we touched in the first few slides of the tour. So there's a lot of different ways to kind of find a community within the College of Engineering, regardless of if you come from a community that isn't highly represented overall in the field of engineering. We have the Women in Science Engineering theme program for female students that want to live with each other in the same dorm room their first year. It's a great experience from what I've heard for students to just be able to study together. Most of them are engineering/STEM majors, and they kind of just root for each other and just are going through the same experience of being a female in STEM. And kind of empower each other. There's also BESA, which is the Black Engineering and Science Student Association. This is a registered student organization. I think it's funded by the College of Engineering, but it's just a club for any Black engineering student or any obviously Black student in STEM overall. There's not too many African-American students that go into the STEM field. So it's really kind of crucial that we support them and give them all the resources that they need. Same as for Hispanics in engineering and sciences, very similar club. We also have EOP STEM. EOP is an equal opportunity program. It's open to any student who is a first-generation college student, low-income student, or historically underrepresented in higher education. They have a specific STEM branch within their department that specifically focuses on STEM fields and works a lot with the College of Engineering. So if you need any help, even those iClickers that Greg mentioned, I think you could rent them out for, I forgot how much it is. I think one time I paid $30 to either rent it out or buy it. But if you go to the EOP STEM office, you can just go in there and get an iClicker for free. I think you rent it out for the semester, or if you're taking various courses, you could rent it out for an extended period of time. But they just offer a bunch of resources to make sure that no one is struggling financially to get any of the resources in the College of Engineering. And then lastly, we have the pre-engineering program. That's a great gateway for anyone who hasn't had the opportunity to do any engineering curriculum in their high school. Just kind of get acquainted with the College of Engineering and kind of get prepared for college. It's, I believe, a 6 to 8 week program right before school starts, and you work with other undergrad students, usually in their sophomore, junior, senior year, and just work with them, try to get acclimated to what the College of Engineering is and learn a little bit more about it.
Aside from all of those resources, there are tons of different student organizations on campus devoted to engineering and engineering students. A whole list of some of them are right here, and you can see some fun pictures of various clubs like Concrete Canoe up in the top left there. You have CalSol, which is our solar-powered race car team in the bottom left there, Steel Bridge, in the bottom right, which uses that wonderful Davis Hall construction bay that I talked about earlier to put their bridge together for competitions. You have Aerospace SAE in the top right, which builds model aircraft for competitions and things like that. Berkeley Formula Racing, or Formula SAE, as they're sometimes referred to, builds a race car each year, and designs the entire thing from scratch, frame, electronics. They program their own launch control into it, and then get to do aerodynamic simulations of how it'll drive, and then they actually get to race it against other university teams from around the country. So that's a really neat club that I am personally interested in getting more involved with when we come back on campus in the fall. You'll see Biomedical Engineering Society, the Society of Women Engineers, which Christina mentioned she was a part of, Cal Hacks, Pioneers in Engineering, and then there are various department honor societies within each major department in the College of Engineering.
Yeah, and there's even more to do within the College of Engineering. So we have a bunch of labs and makerspaces that are also available to students. So first of all, we have Sucharjadai Hall, where we have a bunch of different research labs. Specifically, we have Citrus, which is the Center for Innovation, Technology, and Research in the Interest of Society. They have a bunch of research opportunities, and a lot of them actually hire undergrad students to work within those labs. So it's a great opportunity to get that research early on. We also have Jacobs Hall, which we mentioned earlier, and the Jacobs Institute for Design Innovation. We talked about the certificate program that this hall has, but there's also just a bunch of opportunities to purchase a maker pass and access a lot of the machinery that they have within this. Hesse Hall is one of the buildings dedicated to mechanical engineering. So we have the mechanical engineering machine shop in there. I think I've been in it once or twice. I'm sure Greg has been in it a couple times before, but it's really cool. Just a center where a bunch of students have access to these things to start like building whatever their mind imagines. So it's really cool that we have a machine shop specifically dedicated for the College of Engineering. Davis Hall, we mentioned the civil engineering construction bay that we have. And then lastly, we have the Richmond Field Station, which is an off-site UC Berkeley location that works as like kind of extra land to just like do a lot. Like I know Berkeley Formula Racing goes out here to test their cars and stuff like that. And it's only a bus ride away, Evans Hall. I'm pretty sure the bus picks you up right there and takes you all the way to the Richmond Field Station. So a bunch of different kind of resources that are at your disposal within the College of Engineering.
Yeah, I personally can't talk enough about Jacobs Hall. I absolutely adore that building. It has an amazing makerspace in it. It's like 4 stories of just pure engineering heaven. So I highly recommend going and checking that out. If you come on campus, it's just beautiful. There's 3D printers and laser cutters and all sorts of different equipment everywhere that you can get trained on how to use. And it's open to the entire campus. So you do have to get a maker pass and like get training and stuff, but you don't have to be an engineering student to use it, which has been a really neat experience for all sorts of people across all different majors on campus to come and get to make whatever they want in there. All right, now we're going to talk a little bit about research, and this is where going to professors' office hours, like I mentioned earlier, does come in handy sometimes, because having those personal connections with professors can help you learn about what projects they're doing, see if they need any help during the school year, over the summer on research projects. There's also the Undergraduate Research Apprentice Program, which helps connect students to research opportunities that they're interested in. They hold all sorts of research fairs near the beginning of school year of each semester. And in fact, specific departments also often hold research fairs that you can go to if you have a more closely defined idea of what you want to work on. There's also Beehive, which is another way to connect students to research opportunities across all different parts of campus. The Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory, which we mentioned briefly during our College of Chemistry slide, which is part of where we've discovered so many of the elements on the periodic table, also helps provide research opportunities to undergraduate and graduate students. So getting to work there would be really, really neat. Huge historical location. Lots of very important discoveries have been made there. And then there's the Center for Entrepreneurship and Technology. And I keep doing this, but I know I can't pronounce that name correctly. And so I'm not going to mess with it because that would be bad. But it's that Center for Entrepreneurship and Technology, which also provides undergraduate and professional programs to all sorts of students across campus. And then I always love pointing out this picture in the top left of Oski practicing good lab safety there with his goggles and his lab coat, making sure that he stays safe like we all should.
Yeah, I remember that picture of Oski from my Chem 1A lab when I took it, like my second semester here. It's just like a video of Oski teaching you lab safety. That's really great video. Hopefully if you guys come to Berkeley, you'll be able to see that. Really quickly, just wanted to give a quick shout out to our most recent Nobel Prize winners. So we've talked about how the faculty here at UC Berkeley are top tier and are literally the best people ever. And actually this past year in 2020, we won 2 Nobel Prizes. So Jennifer Doudna won the 2020 Nobel Prize in Physics, and Reinhard Genzel won the 2020 in chemistry. Reinhard Genzel, 2020 Nobel Prize in Physics. Got jumbled up there. But yeah, 2 faculty within the I'd say associated with the College of Engineering, overall STEM got Nobel Prizes, so it's really cool. A bunch of different Nobel Prize winners within the College of Engineering, but also outside of it. So it's really cool to study under them. Even some students have the opportunity to do research inside of their labs.
And just some more notable people associated with engineering at Berkeley: Rube Goldberg. I'm sure you've heard of Rube Goldberg machines, which are silly contraptions that are needlessly complicated to perform a simple function. I built them. They're really fun. Look up some YouTube videos of them. They're kind of zany. Dean Liu, who was a professor, researcher, and administrator. She was the first female dean of the College of Engineering here at Berkeley. Shafi Goldwasser, who won the Turing Prize, which is a really big deal in the computer science world. I'm sure, given the number of interested people we have in EECS on this tour, you will have heard of the Turing Prize before. I mentioned early on in the tour, the co-founder of Apple was a Berkeley Engineering grad, Steve Wozniak. And we're also been celebrating 150 years of women in the College of Engineering, as well as our overall 150 years of women admitted to the university at large.
Yay, thank you both so much. That was a very informative overview of our College of Engineering. I know I definitely learned some new things, so thank you so much. And our visitors also had amazing questions for you, so we'll start with one for Christina. What type of culture does the school try to foster?
Oh, that's a really good question. We've obviously gone over like the words that like the slideshow describes it, and I think a lot of times like the school tries to describe UC Berkeley students as change makers, and I totally agree with that. I'd say overall like the culture that at least the College of Engineering tries to foster is just like super passionate students. Every student, it was kind of like one of the things I was worried about when I first like came to Berkeley, was just like, oh my God, all these students are like basically the top of their class. Like once you come to Berkeley, everyone's so intelligent. They've done internships here, internships there. They've like done all these cool things. And I'd say overall the student body is super passionate about what they do. If you just like hold someone on the street and are like, hey, what are you majoring in? What are you passionate about? They could go on for hours. At UC Berkeley, specifically in the College of Engineering, I think we're all just like super happy to be doing what we're doing and super passionate about it. But yeah, I think also the change maker is a really good word to kind of encapsulate UC Berkeley, because we're all just trying to like do something greater and make a better change for the world, whether that be through like, coming up with a new company, or just like discovering something, or using a different material that's more environmentally friendly for a product. Just like overall that sense of just like making things better for overall a lot of people.
I would say that that's very true. I have one friend in chemical engineering, and he'll come up to me and just start telling me all that he's learning in his summer class right now. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I don't understand any of it, but he's just so passionate, and I'm definitely willing to listen. We have another question for Greg. So how did you go about identifying and choosing your major? It's a very permanent decision, and I know you had quite a ride with choosing your major. So I'd love to hear your answer.
Yeah, for sure. I came into Berkeley. I came into applying to colleges knowing that I wanted to do aerospace engineering or something similar. And Berkeley, when I applied, didn't have an aerospace engineering program. And so I applied astrophysics because I felt like that was kind of closest thing that I could get to it. It was still space related and science related, but not, I didn't feel like I quite fit in with any of the other engineering majors. And so I came here and I spent my first semester taking astro classes, undergrad physics classes and everything. And then Berkeley up and created a aerospace engineering concentration within mechanical engineering. I was like, wait, that didn't exist when I applied. So I immediately, tried to switch tracks and put myself on the transferring path into engineering, which took me a long time, up until January of this year. So it took me about a year to transfer. And then it was a lot of, taking engineering classes while also trying to make progress on astrophysics. So it was definitely a bit of a balancing act there for a while, but it happened and I transferred and I was very happy with that. So it was really that push towards aerospace that finally sold me on mechanical engineering. I felt like it was very general before that, which can be a really great thing for people who want to dip their fingers in a lot of different areas. Me, I knew that I wanted to work on aerospace. And so having that aerospace concentration available within mechanical engineering definitely sold me on being a mechanical engineer at Berkeley.
Yay. I love that you're one of those very few success stories of switching into the College of Engineering. It gives some hope, All right, we have another question for Christina. Someone asked about safety. So since Berkeley's in an urban area, how safe is it around campus?
Yeah, so I would say overall, take into account that UC Berkeley is in an urban area. So if you come from a really, really small town, it may be kind of crazy and kind of just I don't know, just a lot at first. But overall, I think UC Berkeley tries to give all its students the resources that they need. When I came here, I don't come from a super urban area. I come from a pretty suburbs of LA. I'm not really close to the center of LA. So it's pretty quiet in my city. Nothing really happens. And one thing about UC Berkeley is that there's nightlife. So you do have to be just a lot more cautious of your surroundings. But from the start, I stepped on campus and we have Golden Bear orientation. And from the first days of my orientation leader was already kind of setting me up for success, letting me know their experiences with nightlife at UC Berkeley and what resources they use. They also kind of took us through an online module where they showed us different night shuttles that you can access, different programs Bear Walk, where different certified, I think it's community service officers that are certified by UCPD walk you from point A to point B. I know I have a couple of friends that do that, and they just walk students from point A to point B, making sure they get home safe. So yeah, I would say there's a bunch of resources to make sure you're safe. And I personally have never been in a position where I've been walking home alone or walking home super scared, but I'm also really cautious of my surroundings. So I think it's an urban area, so be mindful of that, but you'll be fine as long as you're taking in all the resources that are given to you and just being aware of the overall surroundings of UC Berkeley, especially while walking home alone at night.
Yes, I agree. Thank you, Christina. And now a question for Greg. What was your freshman experience like in the College of Engineering, and how did you make friends within your classes?
Yeah, so like I mentioned previously, very different, but I did end up taking a lot of engineering classes, especially in the second half of my freshman year as part of the transferring process. So I had a extremely similar freshman experience to I think what a freshman in the College of Engineering in a mechanical engineering major from the start would have had. It was, definitely tricky. It was, I felt very different than high school in regards to my classes. It was, classes taught by world-renowned professors on very important topics that I knew were going to be essential for everything I did afterwards. So there was a lot of weight put on, really not only just testing well on the information, but really understanding it, because the whole prerequisite system is there for a reason. You take these classes to be able to build up skills to do more complicated and interesting things later on. So I definitely took that to heart and tried to, solidify everything I was learning in my head there. In terms of making friends in classes, I absolutely made friends with all sorts of people not just from the College of Engineering. And that's something that we definitely stress, is that you run into people from all the colleges on campus, because everyone takes classes within other colleges, mostly the College of Letters and Science for your humanities and social science requirements, or your breadth requirements, or something else. So you will run into people from all walks of life on campus in those classes, and they're really fun, interesting people. I don't think I've met anyone on campus here that isn't, interesting in some way. Whether or not they're interested in the same thing I am, they are interesting. So, you can just really kind of connect with people on so many different levels in your classes, and, just make study groups and get to know them better over the course of discussion sections and stuff if you're partnered with them on labs. And there are so many different opportunities to get to know people better and make friends that last, beyond the semester in most of your classes.
That was so well said. Thank you so much, Greg. Now I have one last question for both of you. We'll start with Christina and then go to Greg. But what is your Berkeley story? So why did you choose Berkeley, and what has been so special about it so far?
Yeah, so one of the reasons I actually didn't really think I was going to get into Berkeley, and then I got that email with the confetti, and I was like, okay, I got in, I've never visited, have to come visit the place. And the reason I actually came to Berkeley was Cal Day. Cal Day is our annual open house. It's been done virtually for the past 2 years. Hopefully it'll return to in person, because I really think that the in-person experience is like unmatched. There's basically we have over 1,000 student orgs, and basically all of them have a table on kind of our main center of campus, and they're all trying to recruit new students and show them what their club is all about. I went to the College of Engineering. I think they had like breakfast burritos and stuff. They had different lectures. A lot of the labs and like makerspaces, all that was completely open. So I just kind of got to like walk around and pretend I was like a college student, which was really crazy for me. And every person I met, again, going back to that first question I was asked, like, what culture does Berkeley cultivate? It cultivates super passionate people. And that day I met so many people and talked to so many people that just made me so like proud to like even like be accepted to this university. And I was like, there's so much that all these students are doing. There's so much that this faculty can bring. And overall, just like Berkeley just seemed like it had the most opportunities versus every other university. And I was like, okay, I have to come here. And I think what's kind of kept me here and made this experience so special is for sure the people at UC Berkeley. Academics, there's obviously a lot of great schools that have like top tier engineering programs, but overall, like the culture at Berkeley and the people at Berkeley, you're not going to find anywhere else. Also with that, like the school spirit and overall, just like the overall culture that UC Berkeley brings and the community that you become a part of is just like unmatched. So that's kind of what has like made everything worthwhile to like be here and just like be a golden bear overall. So yeah, that's my little Berkeley story, but I'll let Greg share his.
I hate to be redundant, but a lot of mine's going to be very similar to Christina. I grew up in the Bay Area. Berkeley was quite literally the ivory tower school, across the bay. We have a 307-foot tall clock tower that's white. So it's an ivory tower school. And there was no possible way I was getting into it. So I applied because I applied to basically all the public schools. And I was absolutely shocked when I got in. But by that time, I had actually accepted admission to another campus. And so it was kind of the dueling admit days. I went to their admit day, I went to Cal Day, and like Christina, I was just absolutely blown away by Cal Day. Just all the student organizations, everyone being so incredibly passionate about whatever they were working on, whatever they were trying to tell you about, but also the just amazing facilities. I hadn't, even living in the Bay Area for 18 years, hadn't explored Berkeley all that much, and got to take some really incredible tours, not just of campus, but also of the labs up on the hill above campus. The Space Sciences Lab is one that I always love to mention, because we have literally like a satellite manufacturing facility on campus where NASA and other space agencies in other countries and other universities contract with UC Berkeley to build them satellites and space probes. And something that just went into orbit around Mars a few months ago was built by UC Berkeley for the United Arab Emirates. So it's just that kind of grand opportunities, like Christina said, it just drew me to Berkeley. And watching the rally on Stroud Plaza with the band and rally committee and flags and just the kind of getting swept up in the school spirit of everything made me feel like there was no possible way I could go anywhere else.
I truly believe there's no place like Berkeley, and I think you both definitely expressed that, so thank you so much. And before we send our visitors off today, we're just going to share some resources so we can stay in contact with us. We have our U-Visit tour, which is a 3D walkthrough of our campus virtually. So campus is currently closed to the public, but you can go check out our U-Visit. You can also follow us on Instagram at Visit UC Berkeley. If you have any questions that we weren't able to answer today, or if they come up later, you can send us an email at tour@berkeley.edu, and a student ambassador, just like the three of us, will be able to answer your question. We also have the Bear Talk blog, where students write about their day-to-day lives here. We have different recorded virtual visits available on our YouTube channel, Visit UC Berkeley. For more resources about the 150 Years of Women on Campus celebration, check out 150w.berkeley.edu. To learn more about our College of Engineering, check out engineering.berkeley.edu. And for other ambassador student panels and general virtual visits, you can sign up for those at the same place you signed up for this tour here today. And now I'd like to thank Greg and Christina for such an amazing tour, and for all of our attendees for joining us today. And I'd like to send you off with a big Go Bears on 3. So if Christina and Greg would like to join me. All right. 1, 2, 3.
Go Bears!
Thank you.